Okay. Nice.
Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on PharcydeTv with my co-host Jeremy Scipio.
What's going on, people?
And a very special guest, Mr. Les. We gonna get into Les in a hot second, but I got a question for you real quick, Jeremy. Did you have another show over in Long Beach yet?
Yeah. That was Sunday. What's today? What's today? Today? Yeah, it was Sunday. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
You gotta be calling me, man. Let me know. I knew it was, coming up.
I apologize, but I got so many. It's going down. That's fine. I got you. Probably within the next week.
All right. Yeah, I gotta go. Matter of fact, I'll even come on Les's side of the freeway. You know what I'm saying? When you got anything around North Hollywood, the Valley area, you know what I'm saying? We could bring Les out and all that. So our guest tonight, Les Correa. So I got a funny little story about Les and I, kind of how we met each other. So basically, Les is a co-producer of Brown's single Suddenly, and I was kind of involved in the graphic design a little bit of it, as well as the press rollout. And so my joke whenever I'm working on projects is like, man, I've looked at something more times than I would ever care to look at, because literally when you're doing revisions, you're looking at something like 1,000 times. Just like Les knows, as a music producer, trying to line something up or get something right, but you have your passion behind it. But you'll hear something for days or whatever. So anyway, I had never met Les in person, so we ended up having a kind of like a part 2 of the music video. It was a photo shoot for the music video. That's what it was.
That's right.
And so me and Les got in trouble. You know what I'm saying? and that's how that's kind of how the friendship kind of developed, because while they were taking pictures and whatnot, I don't know how Les and I got on the topic. And shout out to your sister too, Les, Amy. She brought something that I've been looking for, but I probably haven't looked hard enough. But I can honestly say that grapefruit sparkling water, I've been looking for it, man. I haven't tried to find it online, only because I know it's going to be a grip online. But she came through with the tap, starts with a T.
Yeah, was it Tapico?
Yeah.
No, was it? Okay.
Oh man,
something like that.
She came with the grapefruit, and the twist is it wasn't alcoholic. But see, they got the alcoholic stuff everywhere. I see it at Costco and whatnot. But I've been searching for the sparkling waters. It's like, man, she came with a proper addition to the craft services around that mug. You know what I'm saying?
That wasn't Topo Chico though, right? You're not talking about Topo Chico.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Topo Chico. Okay, that's what I said. Tapico. I'm like, maybe he's thinking about Topo Chico.
Yeah, Topo Chico. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
I just know it starts with a T and ends with an O. So we were sitting there, and while they were taking pictures and Brown was doing a little art direction and whatnot and all that, Les and I are in the background. So somehow we got on weight loss. And man, I lost, man, I had got big during COVID. I'm still bigger than I normally am, but I had like really took the COVID thing like to the max. And so I was telling Les, I was like, man, I don't know how I got on me losing weight, but it started this conversation where Brown turned around and looked at me, Amy looked at him, and I was like, okay, we got to take this conversation elsewhere. So anyway, man, labor you guys with all that. That was my first interaction with Les, and even though we don't communicate, it's just that that vibe of us, us interacting with each other, and we real cool. So with that being said, man, what city are you from, Les?
I'm from Lakeview Terrace, which is here in the San Fernando Valley. It's the East San Fernando Valley, basically. So it's it's the east side of the valley as far as you can go, pretty much, before you hit like Sunland, Tahunga, and then there's La Crescenta, La Cañada.
Pacoima?
Pacoima's on a little bit to the northwest.
That's a little farther out.
Yeah, and then Sylmar. So it's like Lakeview Terrace, Pacoima, Sylmar. It's all here in the 818 though.
Hey, I was gonna say, is that the Lakeview Terrace? famously known for
Samuel Jackson.
Samuel
For
Jackson.
the movie?
Yeah.
That's what it's based on. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny that they made that movie because it is kind of the demographic here. It's very unique in that it's not it's not all Latino, right? Like Pacoima or Silmar might be. And then it's it's definitely, there's more Black here in this area, but then there's a lot of older, like kind of like from the hills area, like Caucasian around here, in Kegel Canyon, and it's just old school. But and then we got a mix of like Asian, but I was basically the minority here in this neighborhood. Yeah. It's different, it's unique. It's culturally very like diverse, though. That's the way I would put it.
Yeah, I've been living in the Valley since 2013. When I first moved here, I moved to Hollywood, and I had to get up out of here. The block was too hot. but this is comfortable, man. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I don't know about Lakeview Terrace specifically, but I'm right over. I'm like Arts District near that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's nice. No, Lakeview Terrace is nice. It's like you got Foothill Boulevard is the main road, and then everything else is streets leading right up to the hills. So we got Angeles Crest right behind us, and on the other side, the south side is the Wash. The 210. It's just like a big a big empty, not empty, but it's it's like it's protected area of the Wash and the desert, and the river flows through it. So yeah, it's pretty unique. And then the 210 was built when we moved here in '79. The 210 was built, and now we're like right by the freeway. So to get to Hollywood or get to anywhere, it's pretty easy. Yeah, if you ever come to Lakeview Terrace, you'll be like, how did I miss this? But it's nice. Yeah.
Yo, you said when it was built, 1970.
Yeah.
Man,
I just aged myself.
Yeah, man. That's the 70s wasn't 30 years ago. Like it used to be.
79. We moved here at 79, my family. So I was in third grade. So yeah. Yeah, it was a while ago before the freeway was built. It was built that year, though. Put it that way. That's when Chips was on TV. Yeah.
Yeah, before they just decided to just play cops and just let them be like the real thing.
Yeah. A lot of those scenes they filmed on the 210 freeway because it was empty and it was still being built. So yeah, a little trivia there.
Man. Yeah. I'll say, when's the first time you heard hip hop and what was the song?
Okay, so it was when we moved to Lakeview Terrace. So I went to a private school, called Village Christian before that, up to third grade, right? And so I'd never been exposed to anything besides like kids' music, right? And then in fourth grade, we went to Brainerd Avenue, which is right up the street from me, Brainerd Avenue Elementary, and it was like, mostly a Black school. So I was like I said, I was one of the minority, me and a couple other Asian and white kids. And I think there was one other Hispanic kid besides me. And like the first week they had a party and they had a turntable in the class and they were playing Double Dutch Bus, which isn't necessarily hip hop, but they were popping to it. So it was my first time seeing somebody pop. And I was like, what is this? I'm like, oh, this is cool. And I fell in love with it. And then they played, I think, Rapper's Delight after that. And it was like, those two songs were the big hits back then. And that was, that's when I heard it. And then I think
favorite.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I was shocked. I loved it because I'd never seen nothing like that. And these kids, they knew how to dance. And they're just in the classroom doing the groove. And then I think I went later that week, PBS was showing Wild Style. I don't know if you guys know that, the original hip hop movie, one of the originals at least.
Of course.
They were showing Wild Style, and I was like, whoa, what is this? The subway scene where they're playing the hip hop beat. So that was my exposure, like, oh, this is hip hop. Okay. And then, of course, breakdancing became a big thing after that. We were into it. We had our cardboard. We'd go up the street with the cardboard and practice our moves, and yeah, I'm definitely old school hip hopper. Started from the beginning, when it was out. Tour de France, Kraftwerk was another one. And it was mostly electro popping. and then, you know, like Rapper's Delight, and then like Blondie, you know, raps her with her rapping in that one. I think Talking Heads had something with some popping in it. Yeah, I was exposed to a lot of that, and it was just like whatever would pop on TV, I was just glued to the set when it came on. So yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I would say that was my first exposure to hip hop. Yeah.
Nah, that's dope. So it's interesting because the word hip hop, like it really didn't resonate where I lived until like I was in high school. Like we didn't say hip hop in junior high. It was like, okay, you're a B-boy, you're a B-girl. And I think that, you know, where the generation of to now, whatever you want to call the culture of to now, it's too many little cubby holes that you can dip off into and whatnot. And I'm not saying it's like on some old fogey stuff or just whatever, but like, okay, when I was in high school, you had the punks, you had the skaters, you had the surfers, you had the gothic people, you had the new wave people, you had the Bloods, you had the Crips, the Samoan, you know what I'm saying? You had like all these things, and that was kind of that. Right. But they all respected each other. And then everybody would swap stuff. Like heavy metalers would be like, well, okay, man, you just haven't been turned on to it. So, yo, man, I'm gonna put you on to some Rush. You know what I'm saying? Gonna and then we say like, man, you know what? We're gonna put you on to some Run DMC. We're gonna put you on to some whoop whoop. And so then we kind of like share it like that. But like the generation of now, it's just so much, man. And I think that just goes to just content, period. Like right now, we're just like totally overloaded with content. With that being said, how do you think hip hop influences the world?
That's a good question. You know, it's very much it's an identity, right? But it's changed into, like you said, different facets. There's, you know, trap, and of course, and that
drill.
came from, right. And that probably came from drill, and you know, those are like what I thought of trap coming from is like the 2 Live Crew and the freestyle from back in the day from Miami. You know, like what was his name, Magic Mike or I can't remember, but it was like
you know about Luke Skywalker and those cats.
Luke Skywalker's crew and Skywalker Records. I mean, I'm talking about the old 2 Live Crew was like, you know, Get It Girl. And, you know, and then there was a club that I think so 10th grade is when I was going to the clubs, right? And we went to, what was it called? La Casa. La Casa was the big club. And they played The Fly. I don't know if you remember that song. The Fly, come on, don't let it land on you. They played 2 Live Crew. I mean, this is old. And then all the freestyle music.
If you talking about the Casa, man, that's that we do a whole nother episode on the Casa.
I remember you. I remember you talking to Brown about that. And I was like, oh, you're talking about La Casa. Okay, that's cool. We kind of grew up in the same times then, you know.
Man, it was, you know, it was so during the, I'll touch it for a hot sec. I got to.
Yeah, you have to.
If Brown is watching, he like, oh, man. You know what I'm saying? But no, I got to. So like during the Casa days, our originality was thrift shops. Like, dude, no one had gold, no one had diamonds, no one had Rolexes. Like the dope dealers or whatever that might come to try to, you know, antagonize the girls as they leave because all the cool girls came to the Casa, you know what I'm saying, and all that. But the Casa was so dope because, first of all, it's right where the 10 and the 110 meet. Like it's another. I pass that thing maybe about 2-3 times a week, and I look at it and I'm just like, man, wow, it was so much history there. You know what I'm saying? So much history. But
are we still in 1979?
No,
this is like 85, right?
Yeah, like 85. Say 85 to 89.
85 to 89 era. Yeah,
but the dope part about it was, okay, you got Les. He from the Valley or San Gabriel Valley, whatever. But you have people from South Central, you have people from San Pedro, you have people from Orange County, you have people. It was crews of people from like everywhere.
Yeah.
But they all came together in the name of dance.
Yeah.
And that was back when you had like The Running Man had just came out, not the date.
Right. Right. The original Running Man.
Like, and I'm gonna say this and we're gonna move on. But imagine over 100 people all doing the Running Man at one time to Public Enemy. Like,
right.
Like, and it was new though. It was new, so it wasn't. But anyway, man, I digress.
No, it's all good, man. It's good to see you guys bond over ancient history. So, no, it's cool. I think it's amazing. Real quick, let's. We got the chat. We got the chat going. You know what I'm saying? So, you're getting a lot of love. So
cool.
Questions we want to tap back in and we go back to doing our thing. But I say one of the first questions is they want to know what's your favorite hip hop song.
My favorite hip hop song. Okay.
Yeah, if that's too much, I don't get it.
You know, like I was talking about how electro was some of the earliest hip hop. So I consider all electro hip hop. So it has to be Clear by Cybotron. Okay. It's called Clear. It was the song that I learned to break dance to, and it's still like a motivational song to me. And it's just like, it was different. It led to techno, which led to house, Detroit. It's, Juan Atkins, and, I think he's the man behind it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but, it was just futuristic robot sounds, that robot voice, that vocoder, and then the electro beats, the 808 or 909s or whatever else they were using. And, to me, that's always like my favorite. I think I played it when I was DJing at PharcydeTv the first time. It's like, I have to play it. It's my favorite. There's a lot of history behind it. Yeah.
Cybotron came out in 1983. So the second question is, no, this is good information. Yeah. I didn't know I was going to do research.
No, it's good.
They said, is Les creating in the NFT space?
Yeah, for sure. We released our first single of Amy and I together, and me as an artist as Les, was called Run It. And I think you guys might know about that. And that was, we released that as an NFT to launch it. And we sold out. We created our own NFT, platform. We had to learn everything. We spent about a year learning about Web3 and NFT, and we had some guidance from Mark de Clive Lowe. Shout out to him. And he had like a creators club that we kind of joined, and he selected people to join. So we were like the lucky 10, and it was actually Amy that joined, but I was like, yo, I'm her brother producer, so I'm going to be listening in. Is that cool? And he's like, yeah. And so we got into it, and it was a great experience. I hadn't been on Twitter, which is now known as X, but back then it was all about Twitter, and that was like a new experience for me. So we did also release a song that's coming out very soon called Go. And we released it first on the NFT space, and that also sold out on Sound XYZ. So, and then Amy's also had another song on Catalog, which is the I'm Good Wear Patterns remix. That's Amy with the Beat Ventriloquist, and Wear Patterns, which is Francesca Harding and James and Jean Bautista. So that's currently on Catalog. It's just a single. So we've dabbled in it for sure. I have to say, it's difficult to maintain on the NFT space. You have to you got to dive in. You got to stay with it. You got to get to know people. You got to be on the Twitter spaces, or probably called X spaces now. I don't know where it's going, but and you got to know.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Elon Musk, I think he's just making business moves with his emotions.
Yeah.
I like this. It's like literally when a week after Instagram dropped their Twitter app, they was like, all right, well, we gonna go with X. But I wanted to comment on it's like Amy's here with us. Is that a picture of her in the background? A painting?
Yeah, this right here. Yeah. So one of her fans, Laura Crutchton, She's an amazing artist. She painted this on her own. This is the actual painting, and she made some prints and she sent it over as a surprise for Amy. And it's based on a picture of Amy, but I mean, that's hand painted. And so I figured, yeah, let me post this up and give her some love. And I keep it here in the studio because it's her fans' love for her, and one of her great talented fans she's a great artist. If you look her up, Laura, I think it might be Art by Laura, but Laura Crutchton, Kruchten. And if you look her up, you could see her other art. She's really great. And then this one is for my brother who just went to Spain and he picked up a herring print for me. So I was like, all right, cool. Yeah.
What's your favorite medium to consume music?
To consume music, like an app or something. I'm always Shazam.
Well, yeah, it's pretty broad. I mean, you can talk about anything from an 8-track to like you said, Shazam works, like whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I still collect vinyl. I'm out thrift stores all the time looking for vinyl. I love vinyl. Do I get a chance to play the vinyl all the time? No, not as much as I used to. But it's still my favorite because you find old stuff, you find rare things. You get a picture. Sometimes you get an insert, a poster. You get samples that you can make beats with. That's how I started making beats, was with the sampling records, looping stuff, and it's vinyl for sure. And if it's not vinyl, I'm listening to Spotify, Apple Music. Those are neck and neck with me. And then if I'm out on the town at the clubs, I'm just Shazamming what other DJs are playing. As a DJ myself, I'm trying to always be out, build my playlist, and then I go to my Shazam playlist and pick out songs that I'm going to play for the next gig. And yeah, so it's every way possible I can get it, but I like listening to public radio too, KCRW 89.9, KXLU 88.9, KCSN 88.5. What's the other one? It's
cool that you like name the medium and then you name the year that you listen to it to. That's kind of cool. 1895, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yo, that's kind of cool.
That's the radio station number.
Sure it is. No, okay. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's all 80s for me.
He said 1880.
1880. Yeah. Yeah, no, but yeah, I mean that's really, I mean, and it, whatever you hear on TikTok and Instagram, if something catches my ear, I like, okay, let me look this up. So yeah, attention spans are different these days, but I try to find, if I really like a song, I'm gonna find it. No matter, I'll Google it, even download it. Yeah.
So this one is kind of off cuff, but since you identify with the era of Clear and Cybertron and like all that kind of music or whatever.
Yeah.
How old? Well, no, I'm not gonna say how old were you. I'm gonna say, when did you realize that Kraftwerk was German, man?
Oh man, the funny thing is, it's just a weird thing because Soul Sonic Force had sampled Kraftwerk, right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a sample from Kraftwerk until later when I had the album. I think it was Numbers, right?
Yeah.
I could not figure out who Kraftwerk was. I just was like, why are they spelling it that way? And they would play it on KJLH back in the day, I'm like, wow, this is like different than the R&B that's on here and the hip hop. This is like,
Tour de France.
Yeah, they're from. Yeah, I thought they were from France too. Yeah, Tour de France was
singles.
Yeah, one of the singles for sure, and then Numbers. Ich ni Sun Chi, and that was my jam. That's got to be number 2.
Where's that?
It's called Numbers by Kraftwerk, and it's
Numbers?
just oh man, it's so dope.
That's where Missy got that from. Get Your Freak On.
Probably.
She sampled Clear, I think, too. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Yeah, the Ichni Sanchi. Oh yeah, she says that. That's from yeah. It's it's
Yeah,
Japanese.
right. She definitely sampled this the Cybertron record too. Yeah. So
yeah. But it's I have to say I probably only found out that they were German probably much later. Probably 10 years later. I didn't think about it, honestly. I just thought, wow, they make some good music, and
I never put a face to it because the record cover was so dope. The French colors, the red, the white, the blue, and then they have the guys with the 10 speeds. But like maybe I want to say early 2000s, I saw that they were like four white German dudes. And I'm like, dang, do they really understand that their music was so powerful that it created something? It did something to the United States. Like it truly foundation of rap music. One of the I'll say one of the four pillars, came from, the Soul Sonic Force and all that. But with that being said, okay, you're going to junior high school, you're in Lakeview Terrace, acclimating, a bunch of stuff going on. What we know as hip hop now, that music was going on. What would you say the soundtrack was to like your junior high school experience?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was like these were tapes that I would record, So it was a mix of KDAY 1580. Okay. I'd have to, like everybody says, you have to go on your roof and move the radio a certain way, and then when it came in on Saturday night jams, you'd hit record and just flip the tape and keep recording, and it would go in and out. But man, I wish I still had my tapes. I had one. Somebody stole it. Yeah.
Worth it. AM. So Jeremy, 1580 KM K-Day.
Yeah. Okay, you already know that's the year.
So you already know the AM. You already know the AM is going to be staticky. So imagine, not only was it a staticky station, it wasn't a cool 102 point something or something in the middle where you just got a shot at something. Dude, it was almost non-legible. Like you could barely like depending on the time of day and where you were. Yeah. But the thing about it, they were the only radio station that played hip hop and rap music. So like you would belabor the static. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like for any little scrape, any little crumb of whatever you could get, like you were very grateful to have that.
Yeah.
Growing up, that was how UPN was for us. Literally, it was like a channel between channel. I watched the whole season of Moesha, and it looked like it was snow falling. But you get what you can when you don't have cable, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Only time I had cable was when my mama had a boyfriend. Anyway. That's just like
I think we had on TV, HBO had just come out, and you used to buy these boxes with a dial on it. Yeah. And it'd be like, we got all the channels now.
Everybody knew somebody that had the box.
Yeah, and then you get the freaky channels in between, and you'd be like, oh, hopefully nobody's watching. It is. Yeah, this is like back in the day, and they used to sell you boxes that you could buy that had all the channels on them, and it was HBO home box office is what it was called back then, and can't remember the other one. Way before
the acronym. He said HBO home box office.
That's what it was. Yeah. Yeah. They were a new company. It's like, man, it's I feel old talking about it, but it was just like it came out at the same time as hip hop was coming out. You know what I mean? It was like it's one of those things you associate with that, and I would say the one thing about K-Day, to just go back to that, is that's the first time I heard mixes. They were mixing the songs, and that was incredible. And it wasn't just your average. It's like those mixes are still on par with what's out today. And these DJs, in fact, some of these DJs can't even hang with those mixes.
The mix masters, man. The K-Day
right?
Masters. Yeah.
They were mixed masters. Yeah.
Speaking of mixed, a couple more comment section questions. How do you infuse hip hop into all your tracks?
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. It's the rhythms, you know, it's always the beat, the tempo. It's like, you know, it's got to be heavy in the bass and the 808s. The hi-hat's got to groove a certain way, you know, the snare's got to, you know, it's got to snap, it's got to clap really hard, it's got to slap, in other words. You know, it's all of that. You know, when you heard hip hop back in the day, in Run DMC, for example, you know, those drums hit the hardest out of everything on the radio. Run DMC hit the hardest. So that had a, you know, I think of all those things when I'm making beats. I'm like, is it hitting hard like that? Is it, you know, or is it just like a background instrument? It's not. It's the drums are everything. Sometimes I start with just the drums and then I craft the melody around that. And very rarely do I do the melody first and then the drums, unless it's like a house or dance track, you know. But yeah, you know, that's pretty much how that's influenced me. And, you know, the DJ culture, of course, you know, playing something that a DJ would want to play, you know. Yeah, good question though. Who was that?
You already know. She's right behind you.
Okay. Yeah, Amy.
Just look over your shoulder.
Okay. Thanks, Amy.
Nah, dope. So let's just say you're in high school.
Okay.
Your senior year. You're almost at graduation. You're almost there. You're probably about a month and a half away from graduation. What do you think you're going to be doing after you graduate?
Yeah. Okay. All right. This takes me back. All right. So around graduation time, I had a lot of college applications hitting me. I was, you know, I had scored pretty high on the SAT or PSAT or whatever they had it back then. So I had that happening, you know, and I was just like not taking it seriously, of course, because I was crazy. I had a girlfriend. That was the most important thing to me at that time. So I just kind of like blew off school. And then I had the Marines coming over, you know, the Marine recruiter came to the house. My dad's like, hey, you should join the Marines. And I was like, maybe. And then so I almost did that, and I'm glad I didn't. But you know, no shade to, you know, Marines or any of our armed forces. But for me, no. But I remember thinking that drawing was cool, and I was going to get into graphic design. But I had also I have also taken piano lessons since I was a kid, and keyboards were like part of, you know, like somebody had brought over a synthesizer and left it at my house. And so for that whole week, all I did was mess around on the synthesizer, making sounds like helicopter sounds and, you know, and like just playing with this crazy instrument. So it was like, I took my piano lessons to that and I was like, oh, I can actually play this, you know, and play these sounds like I would on the piano. And then I think, you know, at that time, I hadn't really decided that I was going to be a producer, but I was already DJing. So that was for sure. I was like, I'm going to DJ. My brother was a great DJ, you know, way better than I was at that time. He was a scratcher, you know, he's a mix master as well. And his name's Mixer Ed. So so we DJ'd parties from like, you know, 10th to 12th grade and the biggest parties in town. So that's what we did. It was like, he'd get on the turntables, I'd get on the mic, and I was actually rapping back then. So I was MC Threat. For
MC Threat, okay.
If you can believe it. Yeah, that was my thing. I probably thought I was going to be a major rapper because, you know, the other rappers out at that time were Ice-T, you know, LL Cool J. And I was like, no, I think my rhymes are better than Ice-T. But, you know,
what was your name again?
What?
What's your rap name? Yeah.
MC Threat.
It's
like Threat.
Yeah. I hate to do this to you, but you got some bars? If not, it's cool. I ain't gonna sweat you.
Yeah, let's see. I'll kick something for you.
Okay, let's go.
All right, here we go. It's called Think About a Junkie. This one people know. All right. Think about it, junkie, to try to get funky. He thought it was a ball and he tried to slam donkey, but I dribbled the rhyme like I committed a crime. The junkie never knew that I was in my prime for the devastating battle with the hum and a rattle. Then I rode the rhythm with the mic as my saddle. It was my reaction to the frequency attraction, made me feel cool, smooth satisfaction. I didn't need practice to stick him like cactus. He was just a sucker with a jackers. Rapping on the mic, the beat we didn't like. Well, he thought it was all right, but I had to say psych. Meanwhile, I threw a punch and I felt the space crunch. Took a hell of a beating. That's right. He took a bunch. And I can't remember the rest.
Hey, man, yo,
one of my first ever raps. Yeah.
Yo, you rap good enough to be on Law and Order, bro. I'm telling you. Telling you.
Jeremy's a wild.
That was your role. That was your
I'm coming
role,
for you, Ice-T. No. No, I love Ice-T. I love Ice-T. There's no shade to him. He had a huge influence on me too. You know, I bought all Power and Rhyme Pays and all those albums, you know, and The Glove, you know, Reckless. Yeah, I know all his stuff. If it wasn't for Ice-T, I don't think I would be as into hip hop as I am. He's another, you know, major guy that was there in the electro days. A lot of people don't know that. You know, he was with The Glove, and their song Reckless was, I used to break dance to that. So anyway, something for people to look up.
Nah, this actually one of the questions were, did you used to rap?
I did.
Somebody else wanted to know Kanye or Jay-Z?
Kanye, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Because I mean, you work, you know, you're an artist, so that's easy to see.
Yeah.
They said, can you tell us about co-producing with Brown?
Oh yeah. That was a pretty big honor for me. You know, long story short is, you know, Amy did a TikTok video doing Passing Me By, right? I think it was Passing Me By. Yeah. And, you know, mouthing it basically on a TikTok. Brown got a hold of her, checked out her music, and invited her to, you know, come interview. And so she came to me and was like, hey, Les, do you want to come by and do this interview with me and at least be with me? Because, you know, I'm going to the studio and I don't know who's going to be there. And then I said, yeah, I walked in with her, and then I'm like looking around like PharcydeTv. I'm like, is this a Pharcyde? And then one of the guys there, I think it was Santana, was like, oh yeah, that's Bootie Brown right over there in the video room. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, and I ran in and I was like, what's up? I'm like, man, I used to play your stuff all the time, you know? And I'm like, I saw them in concert in Oakland back in the day, and you know, I had the records, of course, and you know, they were for the 90s, they were at the top, like top 3 for sure, you know. And that era of hip hop was great. So it was after they invited us back to DJ. So I DJ'd a set, Amy DJ'd a set, and that a couple weeks later, Brown's like, yeah, he told me at that time, I'm gonna hit you guys up about something. I'm like, all right, cool. And then it was about, you know, producing a song with him. And it ended up being Suddenly. So basically it was a session that he had sent over some ideas he had. He's like, hey man, I just want you to remix this and do what you want with it and flip it whatever way you like, and let's see what we can come up with. And, you know, we'll have Amy sing to it. So I, you know, he sent me the session. I got in there. I was like, you know, it was very, you know, it was very, I would say it was high pressure for me because I wanted to do great. You know, it's like an opportunity you don't want to miss, right? When a legend like Brown hits you with like, hey, can you remix this? Can you do something? You want to collaborate? You gotta give your best. So I took every piece that I could and I went in and edited it, you know, as cleanly as possible. I took out noise. I made loops out of things that weren't loopable, or I think it was like a lot of the song was in, the original was like in a different time signature. So I had to like extend it and make it work for a dance track. And then, you know, putting all that together in Ableton Live, and then like, okay, let's send it over to him. Let's see what he thinks. And then he loved it. And he was like, all right, I'm going to come by. So he came over, and then we produced together, and it was just great. You know, of course I was nervous, you know, but he was so like chill and just like cool. And it was like, oh man, he's a, you know, when you're working with a seasoned producer like Brown, you know that he kind of knows what he wants to hear. So there were certain things that he would ask for, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. He goes, let's have Amy do these laws and, you know, ahs. and well, I want you to do like a filter on this part where it's like EDM style. And I was like, all right, cool. So like everything he asked me to do, I, you know, was like, okay, I better know how to do this. So that's, you know, that led to the production style of Suddenly. And, you know, we basically just shot each other, you know, parts. You know, he came back with some other parts that he wanted to put on there and ideas. And then we worked on the mix together, and then we sent it off to mastering, you know. And of course, when Amy was recording, he was here. So it was just like she was coming up with ideas, and, you know, we were thinking of making it a Spanish song. We were going to do this, do that. And, you know, basically it was just like, it was an easy and fun time to produce with somebody like that. There was no like weirdness. He like was cool with sitting on the couch while I jumped on the mix, and everything he talked about was like, you know, it was like, wow, you really know what you're doing. And it was, you know, it was actually a great honor for me to work with him. And to me, he's a legend, and at the same time, he's down to earth, and he's so humble, and it's like, you know, it's a pleasure to work with people like that. I like to work with people that I like, and he's definitely somebody I like. And I don't want to be like I'm blowing him up too much, but, you know, he really is like, he's like that. You know, he if you know him, he's just a cool cat, you know. And so yeah, that's how it started, and we're happy to say that I like the outcome of Suddenly, and that it's out. It's like I'm still promoting it, still pushing it, and happy to use it as promo all the time.
When did you realize you wanted to make music?
Oh, shoot. Early on. I mean, I think, okay, I liked making music because my whole family is especially on my mom's side, they're all musicians. They're like guitarists. All my uncles are guitarists and keyboardists. So my mom had me started on accordion, I think when I was like 7 or 8 years old. So for like 3 years, I played accordion. And don't ask me to play accordion because I can't now. But I got tired of that, and they bought a piano, and I took piano lessons, and my brother took guitar lessons. This is before Amy was born, and you know, that's what we did every week. And so but I don't think I had it in my mind that I wanted to be a musician. I just thought like music is just one of those things that we did as a family. You know, when the family would come over, they're like, play us something, and I'd have to play something, you know, and everybody would cheer me on, even though if I made mistakes, they would be like, yeah, come on, you know, you're so good, you're so talented. I'm like, yeah, right. But you know, and then I think when I started making my own beats with my keyboards, I had like an Ensoniq Mirage was my first keyboard, and you could sample records on that, and I would speed up my record to 45 and then put the techniques all the way up on the speed just to get a short sample into a long loop. And you'd have to like hit the button right at the right time just to get the beginning and the end. And then we'd rap to that. And, you know, it was just when I started making beats that I could rap to with my buddies, I was like, dang, I could actually do this. I really like producing, and this is what a producer does. This is what I want to do. And, you know, and of course there were other rappers that were so much better than me at the time. That was a hard realization for me to come to. It was like, dang, I'm not going to be a rapper. You know, I'm not going to make it in the rap industry, but I could produce and I could do these beats. But, you know, when I first started rapping, I was like, yeah, man, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make $1 million rapping. I'm going to do this Think About a Junkie rap. And, you know, but, you know, I think that was probably, you know, 12th grade. That's when I was like, yeah, I want to be a musician. I don't want to go to the Marines. I'll go to community college. You know, that's what I did. You know, I could have went to a number of colleges, you know, universities, but, you know, life leads you where it leads you, you know, and I have no regrets, you know, but I do look back on the different opportunities, and I think, well, if I would have went to UCLA, I might have been this kind of person. If I would have went to USC or Pepperdine, I might have been this kind of person, or, you know, but for whatever reason, I stuck with, you know, the neighborhood and like, you know, DJing and making beats and, you know, doing our thing with the 40s and the weed and, you know, all of that. You know, that was our lifestyle. You know, hip hop was that, you know. And if I could make a beat for my buddies and me to freestyle to, that was the funnest thing ever. Being in my garage, looping a beat, you know, smoking a little something, and then just freestyling and laughing our asses off at what we came up with, you know, recording it sometimes, you know.
I ain't gonna lie, I got stuck 'em like a cactus still in my head, man. Like you said, stick 'em like a cactus. I'm like, oh, that's the line right there.
Let's stick 'em like that.
Bars, bro.
Yo, Amy knows that rap. Amy used to be, I used to have, she can recite it. We should ask her next time she's on.
she actually was writing it out in the chat as you was doing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see?
No, I'm kidding. She can't.
Okay. I might have a recording of her as a like a 7-year-old rapping it.
Wow,
but,
7.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, that was the thing. I mean, it's crazy to look back on those days. You know, it's like I would have never thought they would lead to this where I'm at now. You know, and of course I went through a time where I, you know, worked a 9-to-5 type job and thought that was going to be it for me. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to just be this kind of person. And it all led back to music. I was like, I'm not happy, you know, that stuff did not work out for me, but making music and DJing and being creative, that's who I am. And it, you know, it keeps me alive. You know, I'm thankful for it too.
Your top 3 favorite music producers, not limited to genre, in no particular order.
Wow. Okay. I'm just gonna throw them out there. Definitely like Mike Dean, for sure. Dr. Dre, of course. And let me go somewhere else with this. Quincy Jones, of course. Quincy Jones. Yeah. Those are my guys. Yeah.
Educate me to who Mike Dean is.
Okay, Mike Dean.
And excuse my ignorance.
All right, Mike Dean he's like a analog synthesizer master that did all of Kanye's stuff.
Okay.
I'd say 80% of his stuff is, you know, especially even his current album, Donda, and the one right before that, you know, Jesus is King. He did the production on that. Yeah, and
Travis Scott, The Weeknd, just about everybody. It's a certain sound that you be like, oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's solid. It's bright. It's in your face. He does things like he'll reverb something and then cut it off, and I was like, oh, I like that. Who would have thought of cutting off a reverb? You know, like actually editing it so it just stops. You know, when the next beat hits. So people like that reverb to carry sometimes. But I was telling Amy, we might have to like steal that, try that on a track one of these days. You know, but that you know, when I look at producers like that, and of course there's a ton of other guys too. Even just Kanye himself as a producer, I thought was great. He used the same keyboard I used back in the day, and you know, the MPC. I still have my MPC. You know, and yeah, it's like Jay Dilla's would be top 5, you know, for sure. And yeah, for sure. Yeah, just the way he looped things. Yeah.
I say it's interesting that you like, you know, after hearing your references, I get a really good feel for you and you know how you're like repping for that electronic sound, you know what I mean? Or that more like, you know, there's some acousticness too, but I can just tell like it's like the parts that people overlook in hip hop. You're like, that's my main thing. Because I tell you what's interesting, one of the hottest songs, and I think depending on the week is the hottest song, is that what's his name? Lil Uzi Vert song. I just want to rock, whatever. That's like the biggest song. Yeah, and, you know, a lot of people listening, including me, like what is he saying? Is he using words? Like, how is this his song? Why is this the biggest record? But I feel like, you know, you or people who are like you, it's like, yo, this is my jam. I'm glad this music is back number 1 in hip hop.
Yeah, that song helped me. I was DJing at a bar in Venice for about 3 or 4 months, right? Called The Brig every Friday night. And that song came out and I was in there, and I didn't know about it until somebody requested it. And then when I played it, the whole place went off. They're all singing along. I'm like, I'm dropping this in my staples. And it was, that one, I was like, okay. I'm like, this is a song, this is a style. And of course, Drake and, Bad Bunny, those guys, those are all big songs too. But yeah, I Just Want to Rock is like a peak song that you would play at a club. I think you still play it. It's not going to be worn out. I could play it at a wedding.
No. It's like the biggest, the synthesizers and all that stuff. And then, I just want to, I'm like, what am I listening to? Somebody was like, that's Lil Uzi Vert. I said, where? I just heard a bunch of noises. All right, I wanted to bring up, because it's like literally the hottest thing in the news right now, the riverboat brawl. Are you caught up?
Oh yeah.
Briefly, in Montgomery, Alabama, that's where the race war of 2023 broke out. Pretty much some people were docking a boat. They were trying to dock a big cruise ship while a little boat full of some Caucasian folk decided they didn't want to move. A black security guard came out. They fought him. Next thing you know, the boat employees, everybody, Aquaman came, and Black Aquaman came, and then somebody started slapping everybody with chairs. Anyway, what are your thoughts?
Oh man. Okay, so when I saw that, was it yesterday or day before yesterday? And the first thing I saw was how it started, right? And you see this guy like, hey, move your boat, man. And he's untying this boat, and people are filming from the ferry. They're like, we can't dock. He told them not to park there. They're docked there. And then you see it start to progress. And then the guy's friends come out and they jump the security guard. All of a sudden there's like 8 people jumping, including the wives, jumping on him and hitting him.
Yeah.
And all I remember is him, like, he got punched first, and he said, oh, it's like that. Took off his cap. Woo! That thing flew up in the air. And I was like, oh my God. I thought that alone was everything. And then it went to the very end. It skipped a lot, and it went to the end where the chairs are flying and the ladies are jumping in and trying to jump people. And I was like, was this a different incident? And then later on, I caught the whole in between, and it was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. What were these people thinking, trying to jump a guy trying to do his job? And it was just like, they of course were drinking. They must have been drunk on their boat. And they said, let's just dock here and go get some more drinks. And security guards like, no, you got to move. And they're like, we ain't going to let this guy talk to us that way. And I'm sure there was some racial things going on there. It's, it's Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama.
What a place to start a race war.
Come on. I mean, but honestly, I loved that. It was so satisfying to me. And to finally see somebody stick up for somebody getting jumped like that. Because usually you only see the part where they get jumped or killed or whatever, or robbed. But to see people like Aquaman, dude, Aquaman is what they call him.
Aquaman.
Man, he jumped out that boat, and you see him swimming, and then you see the other dude at the top coming down, and he had that long stairway to go down. And then the ferry, I mean, it wasn't over yet. They're still fighting. Yeah. Then the ferry docks, and then you got the Avengers coming in. And I was just like, oh my God, this is just, there were so many great moments. And I, of course, like everybody says, I'm not an advocate for violence, but man, when you jump somebody, you get what's coming to you. And they jumped that man. And this guy is he's in his, he's probably at least in his 50s too, or older. Maybe he was in his 60s trying to do his job, It's like, how are you going to disrespect him like that? And think you're going to get away with it. And so, I mean, thank God.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm so glad they did, because man, that's a lot of entertainment. I mean, from the moment they threw the hat off, I think this whole thing could be an Olympic sport separately. Call it riverboat fighting. I think this could work. Seriously.
You want to know my favorite part was that they threw the Jason Aldean song.
That's what,
it's like, that's the theme song. Like, try that in a small town. It's a small town. What's gonna happen? Or the other funny meme was the Doctor Strange fire circle.
Oh yeah, I see.
Oh my god!
It's like Cap on your left.
This is too much. I was like, oh, this is the best ever. And you know, and it's like, and I really love that that even there were white people going on TikTok saying, yeah, go, this is what needed to happen. You know, they got what was coming to them. One guy's like, yeah, no, just watching my sister and my brethren get what they got coming to them, you know? And I was like, good, because it isn't just a racial thing. I'm sure there was some of that behind it, but it was just sticking up for somebody getting jumped.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And I think, you know, mentally healthy people can discern between right and wrong. I know there's some nuances, but overall, like, I'll tell you, my limitation was when the black dude, the tall dude that they tased when he grabbed the chairs and he was hitting everybody. And then I was like, I traced the steps of the lady. I was like, I just want to make sure that she deserved it. Because the dude, the two dudes deserved it, but the lady, I was trying to find out what did she do. She was already getting whooped on. She already took a seat to, you know what I mean? And then he hit her. I'm like, yo, that's spinal injury. I was like, yo, then he didn't know the police was right there. You ever did something? And he was like, man, I hope the police don't care. Like, you just lit her. And he like, what? The cop was like, you could tell his mind. He was like, I didn't even do. All right, you're right.
He's like, cuff me. I think I read somewhere that his daughter got hit by one of those ladies, or the ladies were jumping on his daughter. So that's what got him angered. Like, he was like, oh, you hurt my daughter. I'm going off. I'm picking up the chair. That's it. So
he was the Hulk in that situation. In the Avengers, because I didn't realize how big he was until the cop grabbed him. I was like, he like twice the cop's height. That's a scary dude without a chair.
Shout out to the cops too. They were doing great. I was like, good. Y'all doing good. I mean, detain who you got to detain. Sort it out, you know. But they didn't just like shoot people, you know. And I'm like, thank you, you know. That would have been horrible.
Right,
you know?
right. No, we would have a different story.
It just goes to show. But I mean, that was the funniest thing since the Teddy Riley Babyface versus to me.
That's funny. Real quick, what's your hidden talent?
My hidden talent. Okay. I'm a tech genius. I do tech stuff. I could fix computers. I could, you know, I go into software, do things. You know, if you got a problem connecting tech, that's my thing. I used to do that for a company for a while, and of course I got tired of it, but I love doing it for my friends, my family. That's about it, though. Nobody else. I ain't setting up nobody's printer or nothing like that. But yeah, I'm very technically inclined as far as software and installing things and making things work. You know, I've kind of forced myself. Being a producer, you have to know that stuff. Otherwise, you get stuck when a client's here and you know you got egg on your face with the computer not working. You know.
Mm-hmm. What other job would you like to do other than music production?
What other job would I like to do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I would love to write stories and make, you know, movies and TV shows. I still think that's something I can do, you know. I always thought that was like the next level to music production is like, okay, what's the next level up? Oh man, we write a movie about our lives or whatever, these stories, you know, growing up in the 80s and all the funny stories, and let's put them together, put them in a movie, you know. And I would love to do that. I know it's like I'm very much a novice when it comes to video editing, but it's like I could see myself doing that, you know, if I had to. And you know, I've been looking into e-commerce lately as a side hustle, and just, you know, trying to get some of that money to just flow in with the least amount of work, you know, so I can keep making music, you know. That kind of thing. I don't mind it. I think it's cool. Drop shipping, that whole thing. It's like I'm following a few people. You know, I'm like, all right, let me see what this guy has to say. I just looking for that right thing that I could test it out. You know, print some T-shirts. What I don't know what it is, something like that that will just run itself, you know, that kind of business I love. I think that's a good thing.
So
another controversial one for you. Are you caught up with Jamie Foxx post?
No, but I was definitely concerned with when he got sick, you know.
So
you know.
he came fresh out of a coma into into some controversy. Pretty much he made a post where he said what does he say? He said they killed this dude named Jesus. What do you think they will do to you? Hashtag fake friends, hashtag fake love.
Right.
Some people interpret that as anti-Semitic comments.
Right.
And Jennifer Aniston went on the defense because I guess they were questioning her about liking it. And she said specifically, I didn't like the post by accident or on purpose. I don't support this type of, hate. Hate is wrong, this and that, blah, 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 which put way more attention on Jamie Foxx, which he had to do an apology post. And he literally apologized and said, I'm sorry to the people I hurt. Yeah. I had dealt with a fake friend situation, blah, blah, blah. I was wondering what your take was on that.
Okay, I mean, I did see that, and I saw Jennifer Aniston was just like, here's a bunch of gasoline to this fire. Here's a gallon. Yes. She did not need to eat. She should have just liked it or not liked it and left it at that and supported that. But I honestly don't think he was being anti-Semitic. I think that he was, he's just talking about like, look, people crucified Jesus, he was the savior of the world, basically, and they crucified him. What do you think they're going to do to you? And he's saying that, like, fake friends, like Judas was his fake friend, right? He's one of the disciples. That's the way I interpreted it. I didn't think he didn't say, it happened to be Jewish people, but Jesus was also Jewish, and people forget that, it's like, he's Jewish. That whole area is Middle Eastern Jewish and other, so it's like, I don't know. Honestly, it seems like people are quick to jump on these things, especially since Kanye, unfortunately, I mean, he came right out with it and offended a lot of people. And, I didn't necessarily agree with that either. But he came right out with it, and then he apologized for it. And for a while there, I was DJing, I wasn't able to play Kanye stuff, and then somebody said, hey, he apologized, you could play Kanye now. Oh, okay. So it's like, I truly don't think Jamie Foxx meant it that way. I really don't. I don't think so. I don't think he did. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Maybe he did. I don't know him that well, so I know he's talented. He's one of a kind. He's a great singer. He's a great actor. He's a great comedian. I mean, I go back to the Living Color days of Jamie Foxx, and to me, he's hilarious. And there's not another person like him, So we got to cherish these guys. He almost died. I thought he was going to be dead or blind.
Right.
It's like, come on, let's give him some love. But I mean, there's so much. My take is there's just so much misunderstanding. Even me taking a stand on it could be risky. You know what I mean? Even me talking about the Montgomery thing could be risky, and that's a shame. It's just like, man, we can't have opinions no more. We can't be like thoughtful and intelligent. It's like, I don't get it.
You can have opinions. You just got to apologize for them, or you lose all your money. With that being said, Splendid Radio does not. The views of Splendid Radio does not reflect those of. No. We do not support anti-Semitism here.
Man, let's speak for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Let's speak for yourself.
But no, man, yeah, it's a funny world we live in. Just gotta adapt on the fly. Don't take nothing too personally at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's true.
I think at the end of the day, and it's crazy. I talk to Brown about it all the time. It seems like life is a sandwich, and let's just say it's a Subway sandwich. Yeah. And at first, let's say if you eat chicken, it was nice breast cuts, breast slices, not processed breast meat, but actual breast meat, nice slices.
Yeah.
And man, we all the way down to the Vienna sausage, man, and they want to give you a fatter slice. It's like, man, they want us to eat the phony bologna, man, and the piles of phony bologna on the sandwiches that they're trying to feed to us. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's like,
yeah,
where did this happen? Like, where did this come from? Is it? And I used to say, well, maybe it's the economy. Because it's like, okay, if the dollar isn't worth as much as it was, maybe some people, instead of raising their prices or just doing whatever, they're like, well, you know what? We just gonna make it worth less. You know what I'm saying? You just got to, but I don't know. But with that being said, Les, your most iconic moment.
My most iconic moment? Wow. That's a good question. I don't think it's happened yet, honestly. But
the moment that you thought about 3 days after it happened, and you were just like, dang, that was.
I really was. I was super happy to break through with. I had a major creative block for music for a while.
Okay.
You know, Amy was not working with me the way she does now, right? Although we had worked in the past very closely, and then she was working with a different producer. And at that time, I just decided to just support her no matter what, whether I produced or not. Mm-hmm. And when I bought a drum machine at the thrift store, it was an old Roland, looks like one of their first drum machines. Looks like something you have on an organ with the drum, you know, push it in and it loops. And I found a loop on there and I started, you know, coming up with something. And I made a beat and with that and played it for Amy and she loved it. Mm-hmm. And at this time she was kind of like moving away from the producers that she was working with. And I was like, what do you think? She's like, I think this is great. Let me get in the booth and come up with something to it. She got in the booth that same moment and, you know, recorded like what came out to be Run It. And that was the song that, like, you know, I decided, okay, I could be an artist, not just a producer. I could be less. Mm-hmm. You know, Amy helped me come up with it, you know, and not empty threat, but less, you know, because everybody calls me Les. And I was like, I don't know, what do I, Les Correa? She's like, try less. I'm like, okay, I like that. I'm like, let's just do it. And we came out, for me, it was iconic because I was able to establish a Spotify for me as an artist. And you know, I had a lot of encouragement from my fellow producers, Gene and James Bautista, the beat ventriloquist. They're like, why don't you come up with some stuff yourself? You know, and I had some other artists. I was always the guy in the background. So this is the first time I was able to like come out with something. And then Run It led to Suddenly, right? And a few songs in between, but Suddenly being a co-producer on that, very iconic for me. And especially to work with somebody from the Pharcyde, you know, to me, that's like legend status. It's like if he said, hey, you know, you want to work with Run DMC, LL Cool J, the Pharcyde. I was like, of course, you know, and it was Bootie Brown, you know, my favorite member of the group. And that's definitely, you know, there to be like known as a co-producer as less on that. It's just like, yeah, man, you're coming into your own and it's a good thing. You know, it's like it's established me to where I feel like this is why I'm not in that 9 to 5 anymore. This is why I'm not in that depressing place where I'm working for somebody else. I'm just like, now I'm actually doing this for myself and for those I love. And it feels good. Maybe the money's not the same, but money ain't everything. And trust me, I'm still provided for and things are still getting paid for. And it's like, I'm still doing it, but now I can get up when I want to. And so I mean, the whole idea of that is like, you're doing what your dreams are. That's iconic to me. I think that's my iconic moment. I'm waiting for that next big iconic moment, though. I'm shooting for it, you know? So I think great question.
What would your biopic be called?
My biopic?
Yeah, movie. Like a movie based on your life.
Oh, what was my favorite movie? Oh,
no.
Okay.
What would your biopic be called?
Oh, what would it be called? Okay, good. Less is more.
Less is more. That's hard. I ain't gonna lie. That's what. That's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who would play you?
Who would play me? Antonio Banderas. George Clooney. No. I don't know. It could be anybody. I would just say somebody definitely that's Latino, you know, up and coming, young. John Leguizamo comes to mind. You know, there's I mean it's I don't know all my Latin actors. Oh, the guy that's on even though I don't look like him, the guy that does Boba Fett, you know, the Mandalorian guy. Pedro Pascal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it was up to me, hey, he'd make a good less. But you know, these guys are much better looking than me. But that's all right.
He's and you know, it's so funny when Jeremy asked you that question. For whatever reason, NWA popped into my mind, and I was thinking, you know, they did such a great job, not to go so far sidetracked, but they did such a great job on getting breakout characters where you saw really good acting, but there wasn't a finger, like you couldn't put your finger on it and say like, okay, I know this character from this, or I know this character from that. Like they were just very talented in their own. So you wouldn't compare it to anything else that they'd done. You know what I'm saying? You just got that great body of work.
Yeah. Yeah. And it made you think that that's actually Dr. Dre, and that's, you know, that's easy. That's cute.
Yeah.
They really did great on that. I don't know if you watched the New Edition special too on BET.
Oh, that was good. Yeah,
Come on. You know, and that's, you know, that's my brother-in-law, Ricky. And it's like to have all those actors play them. And actually, like, you know, you forget that that's who that is. You know, these are actors.
Who did Faison play? I think was Faison in
it? I'm probably the wrong person to ask.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Amy would know. Yeah,
I don't remember Faison. Maybe he was.
Faison was in something. I remember him. Faison was in something. He was in one of those, or maybe it was the Bobby Brown. Who knows?
Oh,
the New Edition one that had me for like a couple of weeks, man. It just the sound selection, you know, the way I think it's become like such a trope for the lead singer to break out from the group, and you know the group kind of fades into the distance. But New Edition is that rare case where just about everybody had, you know, big careers, you know, or in some way, shape, or form. So when you know, for each of them to get their backstory was way more interesting. And then I remember they tried to follow up with the Bobby Brown one. That wasn't as good. You know,
much love to Bobby.
I love Bobby.
Yeah. What happened to the boy band, man? Like the pure innocent boy band, like these teenagers. They just too thuggish for that, man. It's like they're roguish. There is no courtship. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I apologize. Old fogeyism has the spirit of old fogeyism came in.
I'm telling you,
you're right though. You're right.
Oh,
nobody's making these love songs the way they used to. That's for sure. And that's what I mean. That's
baby making music. Nobody's worried about making babies no more. That's not the intent. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man. Back in my days, I just said back in my days, but back in the day, you would play love songs with your girl, you know?
Man.
And it was like the mood was set, you know?
Keep Sweat with that Teddy Riley bass 808 going off in the background. Like, oh man. Oh yeah.
Wow.
So you being self-employed right now, Les. COVID was hard on everybody. It made us all kind of learn different ways of how to, I guess, survive in this cold world. Moving forward, now we have the influx of these super festivals going on. You know, you have so much entertainment now. Before it was kind of like, kind of sparingly parsed out. And now it's like a mega festival every weekend or every other weekend where you can just see so many acts and this, that, and the third.
Right.
I had a couple buddies who had kids, and they really, my buddies really felt for their kids because, you know, kids were already very antisocial, but then when COVID happened, it caused some kids to just go into just, you know, becoming depressed and all this, that, and other. And they already didn't interact with each other. Like for us, we had the mall. You had to talk to a girl, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Or be able to talk to a girl.
Yeah.
But with where we are right now, where do you see social progression going in the next 2 years?
Oh man, everything's different. That's for sure. There's some things that have come up that I did not expect, as far as like, you know, gender identity and you know, we were just talking about this. I was working out the other day, and we're talking about texts and voicemails. Like this generation now, I guess you call it what's post millennials, like the Gen Z, right? They don't necessarily set up voicemails, right? So you can't leave a message. If you text, you might not get a response. They don't feel like you have to respond to a text, which is strange to me. Is that, you know, and it's like
it's not on purpose. I feel like messages are meant to be sent and then received, and you know, you can return. Yeah,
that's
it's like some message. It's like if I hand you this,
not personal. Right.
If I hand you this, you'd be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. And you know, that's one, there was a guy there that was younger, and he was talking about, he's like, no, it's never personal. I just think that, you know, it's not actually rude to not respond. And I was like, oh, okay. So how are people, I mean, the way I see it going, to answer your question, is just like, you know, it's going to be virtual, you know, it's already there. It's going to be the DMs. It's going to be the video chats. It's going to be enhanced, you know, virtual reality type situations, you know, kind of like what we're doing right now. This is kind of like, I think, how it's going to be. I mean, you know, I don't even know, at some point it's going to be where people don't actually meet, you know, and that's strange, but it's, you know, it's going that route. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing. I think human contact is definitely the way to go, and going up to, you know, like what we did back in the days, we, like you said, at the mall, you'd have to go up to a girl and either she said yes, or she smiled, or she didn't smile, and, you know, you felt embarrassed, but you had to do it. And you can't do that now. I mean, I tried dating apps. It's crazy. It's not. It's not.
The introverts are winning right now, man, because they can just, like, you know, it was interesting. I'll say this before I close out. I had you know, Brown's a very technology, non-personal communication so much person, just pretty much just like whatever's needed to communicate. Like that's kind of the, you know, the way, whatever. And then I had another homeboy but then Brown's he's an artist, so he has that, you know, you know, he is an artist. That's matter of factly, like literally. And then I had him on the phone with my other homeboy who's an artist, and they were talking about something that was going on. And it was interesting because I kind of played fly on the wall and to listen to them kind of communicate. And then my homeboy was younger, and he said something that really rang out to me. And he said, nah, man, I really don't like to have phone conversations. I prefer text messaging. And I was kind of like, dang, that's where it's at. Not for Brown, but he was saying this to Brown. Yeah. And I was thinking, you know, for me, I like to hop on the phone real quick because I feel like, get on the phone and then lay the foundation of whatever it is, and then you can go back and text and just do whatever. But I feel like you try to start off via text, there's so much that can be misinterpreted and garbled and whatever. 1000%. But a call can kind of, it could put some personality to the conversation. Yeah. Maybe, but you know, at the end of the day, there's no right way, there's no wrong way, you know. Yeah. I say potato, people say potato. You know, it's it just is.
No, I agree with you 1,000%. I know I'm in the wrong. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely feel like even with me, like I love when things are communicated directly. And I'm gonna show you how terrible I am real quick. Let me see if you can see. No, you can't. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I see. Like
you're in
number
the
digits.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But that's what a lot of it comes from. If people say something is like definite, finite, like I'm not gonna say, if you say okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna be like, oh, right back at you. Like I'm out of there. But couple questions before we close out. One, as an artist, what are you working on now, and where what do you want to be working on? Are you working on anything?
Okay, so right now we're working on finishing Amy's album. It's going to be called Correa Bell, and that's her last name, And we're about probably, we got about maybe 5 or 6 songs to get done, to get on there. We have enough for an album. We just want it to be an extensive album, so not just 9 songs. We want, we want more than that. We want like an old school album would be. And so we're just working on that. We gotta, it's, I wish it was all music, but you can't do that these days as a producer. So it's gotta be planning the video, planning the social media posts, planning the publicist talks, the help with, Facebook ads, the lyric videos from people on Fiverr, the promos. I mean, it's so many other things besides making the music. So we actually have to sit down every Monday and say, okay, what did we do last week? How are we going to schedule out the next week? And when are we going to get in the studio and record? And we're finally, we're recording, but like this past week, we couldn't record because we had to do promo videos for our next single that's coming out. And that's going to be later this month. And it's like, it's tough. I have to say, watching Amy go through it, and she's the artist and she needs to just be, just making music, but she can't, so I'm her brother. I feel for her. I want to help in every way I can. So I'm trying to do as much as I can too, and be an artist and be a producer and, pay the bills. And so this is a tightrope we're walking right now. And it's tough, but man, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, I like it, I love it actually, but that's what we're doing. We're working on this tightrope. We're trying to make music. We're trying to, stay relevant. We're trying to be on social media. And, even Web3 is something that's in the back of my mind. It's like, how are we going to get back on that? On X, is things are, and not to mention AI and Chat GPT. Mm-hmm. How am I going to incorporate that? So I'm thinking about all this, so it's a lot, but it's exciting, and not to complain, because I'm not complaining. It's just, I wish people knew that a lot of people, I don't think, understand what an artist has to go through and how much work is put in behind the scenes. So, it's like, shout out to my fellow artists and producers, because I feel you. If you even put out a song is a big step. So, yeah.
That's matter of factly. One thing I'll say before we close out, I think it's really good to see the way that you and Amy support each other. It's like, it's almost like, it's like, man, Amy has so much enthusiasm, but you need some, like, that's what you want to have somebody that has, like, man, that's what you need. And then it's like, okay, you're having your interview, but then you know what? You're gonna give homegirl the props that did the dope painting that's in the background, and like that's gonna be part of the thing. Like you're gonna, like, you guys rep each other, and I just really say that's commendable, man. That's really dope how you guys support each other, and I hope you guys, man. I wish the best for you, man. I really wish the best because Amy's definitely dope, and then you're definitely a talented producer. If people want to check you out, where can they go to?
The best way is on social media. It's Les Correa, LESCORREA, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you look up Les, I'm there too. I have a Les official on Instagram. I'm working on updating the website, but lescorrea.com will take you to my old website, which is updated. So I would say probably Instagram is the best way to reach and see what I'm doing, to message me, anything. So Les Correa is probably, the best way on Instagram.
Where can people see you perform at?
Currently, I'm not doing a regular DJ gig, but it's mostly events. So if I have something, I'll post it on Instagram for sure. And there's gonna be some public events that we're working on to showcase Amy performing. And as soon as we know, we're gonna let you guys know.
Nah, that's dope. And I'm definitely I'll say this. Before the end of September, I'm gonna make something happen where you and Amy gonna be able to do that song, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna make on something cool theme. I've already talked to a couple people about it. I'm just trying to figure it out and work it out. But I'm gonna throw the bat signal up, and I hope the two of you guys can come out and kind of represent suddenly. But
awesome.
Yeah, that is something that I've had a couple conversations about, so I'm gonna be reaching back to you on that.
Absolutely.
With you, Jeremy, what you got coming up, man? What's your great schedule?
Great schedule,
man. Stressful, but it's all good. This week I will be. Was it 10th through the 9th through the 12th? I'll be in San Diego. A lot of shows. But I'll just say tomorrow I'll be at Comedy Store La Jolla. The 10th, I will be at Don't Tell. You got to go to Don't Tell Comedy. That's just how that works. I'm doing the 10th, 11th, and 12th Don't Tell's comedy shows. They're really amazing comedy shows. You don't know who's going to be on the lineup, but it kind of brings it back to just focusing on the comedy and not on the stardom or whatever. Stars do come through, but that's just how that works. And then also I'm doing on the 11th, I'm doing Laugh Factory San Diego as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bro.
Thank you. I'm gonna be better at posting, so you just follow me at Jeremy Comedy. Other than that, I got other stuff, but it'll be burning our time. Also, I would like to take this time to shout out the chat, man. This has been the most live the chat has been. It's been hard to keep up. I like to shout out Les and Amy Correa's single Suddenly. Y'all go get that.
Yep.
You put me on to so many songs, bro. I'm up here I'm gonna listen to numbers. I'm listening to trying all that stuff. So thank you.
Okay, I hope you like it, brother.
Yeah, the chat is really buzzing right now. I appreciate all you guys. I could go. Was it Pattern Integrity, Casey, Amy, of course, who's right behind you.
Okay,
man, we got
shout out Pattern Integrity. I just followed them.
I don't know if you know. Do you know all these people? Ben Frank is always Ben Frank, man. He been holding us down.
Ben Frank, a rider. You know what I'm saying?
I remember him.
Shout out to Ben.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, April, Maria. I just want to make sure everybody get their love. But anyway, that's it.
Yeah. Shout out to all the chatters and everybody that jumped in to support. Support Jeremy, please. Check out Jeremy Comedy. Support my boy Greg and Splendid Radio and everything that PharcydeTv does. Of course, Brown for sure. Everything from PharcydeTv, I'm with it. So, and then of course my sister Amy Correa Bell, check it out. Music coming soon.
Yeah, no, dude, and we gonna have you back. It's just okay. The thing about it, dude. We could talk for 4 hours, man. We didn't even scratch the surface. We skipped over a gang of stuff.
I know.
With that being said, let's do it. I really appreciate you once again. You and your sister, your relationship is admirable. The way you support each other is incredible. Like that is something that, man, like I say, we all want a rider like Amy on the team, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that we all want a Les on our team too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's tight. With that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV.